What's up, awesome YouTubers? Ryan1988 or Justin back here to do another video in my countdown to Halloween videos. And today we are going to continue on with the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and we are talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, that is in this new 4K set. That I want to talk about the picture quality, but also talk about the movie. So before we get to the picture quality, the movie came out in 1988, almost, 37 years old now. And it was a very important year because in 1988 I was also born, hint the name Ryan 1988. I was born in October, so October 7th. And so 1988 was a great year for horror movies. We've had, the year of Child's Play, The Blob, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Friday the 13th Part 7, Halloween 4, like all these horror movies were coming out in 1988. And Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is directed by Renny Harlin, who right now is in the spotlight with his Strangers movies that he's directed. But he also directed a lot of other great films outside of the genre. Die Hard 2, which is my favorite sequel in that franchise and one of my favorite action movies. He directed Cliffhanger, Long Kiss Goodnight, Deep Blue Sea, so many great movies. Renny Harlin was definitely a staple in the late 80s and 90s. And I'm glad he's still directing today. And even, even if the Stranger movies are not getting the greatest reviews, I'm glad he's back in the spotlight and he's still directing still today. But Renny Harlin's A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, is without a doubt one of my favorite horror movie sequels and one of my favorite movies in this franchise. Next to the original and Wes Craven's New Nightmare, with Wes Craven's New Nightmare being my favorite of the franchise, Dream Master tops in at the top 3 for me. So it would be New Nightmare, the original, and Dream Master. So this movie picks up a year later after the Dream Warriors. We have our last remaining survivors of the third movie, Joey Kincaid and Kristen Parker. And in the beginning of the movie, Kristen Parker, played by Tuesday Knight in this movie, is having a dream. She brings in Joey, she brings in Kincaid. They're telling her to pretty much move on, don't think about this man, and let's have better dreams, pretty much. They want to move past what happened at the events of the third movie. And in this movie, you're introduced to brand new characters, including our main character, Alice, and she's played by the awesome Elisa Wilcox. And she's going to be our main character for the next 2 movies. She's, great friends with Kristen Parker. They have a great relationship in this movie. There's the theme of the Dream Master played throughout the film. And eventually in the movie, about 20-25 minutes into the movie, the remaining Dream Warriors are killed off. And Alice is now our lead, and she has to conquer Freddy because Freddy is able to bring her into his, he's able to invade her dreams and bring her friends in the dreams for him to kill them off because he no longer has the kids on Elm Street to kill and he needs more power. So he's going to go after a brand new group of teenagers, and it's Alice's friends and her brother. I absolutely, again, love Dream Master. It is one of the best in the franchise, in my opinion. I know some people, put this on their bottom list. It is high up there for me. It is the MTV, as quoted in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, very influenced by MTV, from the music to the style of the film to the direction of the movie. It is the MTV of, again, Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's one of the reasons why I love the movie so much. It is so much fun. It doesn't rely on the scares. At this point, Freddy is not scary in this movie. He is, you know, bringing up the one-liners and coming up with these creative kills to capture these teenagers. And speaking of the kills, they're even more elaborate than they were in the last movie. You know, you have the cockroach kill, you have the waterbed kill, you know, you have the, you know, want to suck your face kill. So, I mean, they're more over the top in this movie than they were in the previous films. And Freddy was, at this time, just becoming an iconic character. You know, he was iconic in the first three movies, but this, again, was like the big time for Freddy Krueger. You know, people loved him, fans embraced this character. They wanted to see more, you know, wisecracking Freddy and more over-the-topness from him, and, you know, wanted to know what he was going to do next to his victims. So you see that a lot in this movie. His resurrection in this movie is very campy. A dog, you know, pees on his grave, and fire comes out of the dog when he pees, and that's how Freddy wakes up, and, you know, he, you know, comes back to wreak havoc in this movie. Another standout for me with this movie is the music. I absolutely love this whole soundtrack. You know, Dramarama, if you're a fan of anything, that's awesome. Thumbs up, because I love that song. Love Kills is a great song. You have so many great songs sprinkled throughout this movie, and you know, if I'm working out or if I'm wanting to put on a great horror movie soundtrack and just listen to it throughout the house, I will put on the Nightmare on Elm Street 4 soundtrack. It is, in my opinion, even though Dokken is very iconic in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, as a soundtrack altogether, Nightmare 4 sells it for me. You know, it doesn't have that iconic Dream Warrior song, but you have awesome songs sprinkled throughout the movie. So amazing stuff there. Another thing I love about this movie are the practical effects and the practical kills in this movie. Like I said, a lot of them are very over the top and, you know, bigger than ever at this time. You know, part 3 was really showing a lot of what they could do with practical effects, but Nightmare 4 really brought that. You know, the chest body of souls that at the end of the movie when Freddy's dying and being, you know, beaten by all these souls, you know, they're coming out of his chest, and you're seeing all these different characters just kind of like reaching out of his chest and bringing him out, bringing him down and defeating him. And that is a great practical effect there. You know, Rick, you little meatball, the soul pizza that Freddy grabs little Rick's you know, head that's a meatball and just eats it. Like, great stuff there. I really love what Renny Harlin did with this movie. His direction is great in this film. He's, you know, did such a wonderful job with this, and, you know, this wasn't his first movie. You know, Prison came out prior to this, but it was a little lesser known horror movie, but that's the movie that got him the job for Nightmare 4, and Nightmare 4 was his first big movie. And then he would go on and direct, you know, Die Hard 2 and so many other films that I named off in the beginning of the video. But I love this movie so much. The last thing to talk about, one of the last positive things for me, there's not really a con with this. I don't have a con with this movie, but my last positive, you know, thing about the Dream Master are the characters. You know, I love Dream Warrior's characters. I think that group of teenagers as a whole, they are great. They're likable. You never want anything to happen to them. And it's the same with Dream Master. I really love the characters. You know, even our returning characters. You know, it was a bit controversial. I don't know how controversial, but I know behind the scenes of this movie, you know, casting somebody else as Kristen Parker from Patricia Arquette to Tuesday Night, you know, there was behind the scenes drama with it. You know, some people, you know, couldn't accept it. And I personally love Tuesday Night more than Patricia Arquette's portrayal. I really enjoyed Patricia Arquette's portrayal in Dream Warriors. I think her portrayal is great in that movie. But I love Kristen Parker in this film, and I love how Tuesday Knight played her. I think she's great in the movie. You know, if I had a downfall with the film, this is for, you know, Joey Kincaid and Kristen Parker, as I think they killed them off way too soon. You know, there's my con right there. I think they should have been in the movie a lot longer. Even if they didn't survive, to have them in the film a little longer would have been great. Because once again, going back to characters in this movie, you really care about those three characters that are carried on from Dream Warriors, and you also care about the other characters in this movie. I love all of them, you know, Alice, Rick, Dan, you know, all these characters. They're just, Debbie's a great character. I love them. I absolutely love them. I think they're great. And Sheila, I love Sheila. So, I mean, the characters are wonderful, and you know, just awesome. You know, I love them, and you know, again, when they die, it's very hard to see them die because you like them so much. So, but overall, I love A Nightmare on Elm Street 4. It went on to be, at the time, the highest-grossing Nightmare on Elm Street movie until Freddy vs. Jason came out. So it's one of the highest-grossing movies in the franchise for sure, and I absolutely love it. So if it's been a while since you've seen A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, go and watch it again. Listen to the iconic soundtrack as you're watching the movie. Enjoy watching these characters. Just have a blast with the film. It's not scary at all. It definitely replaces the scares with fun and entertainment and a great story and great characters. And also, again, the MTV of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. So, and, you know, the other thing is, you know, watch Renny Harlin's directing in this movie. He does such a great job with this film, and it's one of his best, if not his best movie, in my opinion. I really love Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. So talking about the 4K transfer, once again, and I think I'm going to say this a lot with these movies, Warner Brothers just knocked it out of the park with this set. You know, sometimes when you get a set of movies, some are going to look better than others, you know, and some might have issues. And in my opinion, watching the first three movies, or the first four movies, I'm sorry, they look fantastic. They absolutely look fantastic. And I'm so impressed with what Warner Brothers did with this set. So I'm looking forward to diving into the rest. If you want vivid colors, you're going to get it with this movie. The balance is great. I've talked about this before. Some 4Ks can feel oversaturated and don't look as right. This movie captures what we love about the film, that film grain, but also cleans it up to the point where you do get a nice, sharp transfer that I think people will be really impressed with. You know, I popped in the Blu-ray actually just a little bit ago just to see what 4 looked like on Blu-ray compared to 4K. And I gotta tell you, the 4K, the sharpness was perfect. It night and day difference between the 2010, 2011 Blu-ray and the 2025 4K transfer. I mean, just gorgeous. So if you do have a 4K player, if it's something that you want to add to your collection, I highly recommend it. This is one to definitely check out. So that is going to be my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, part of my countdown to Halloween videos, and also it's my, brief 4K, review of The Transfer. So love the movie, love The Transfer. Definitely pick this up and rewatch The Dream Master. It's one of the best movies in the franchise, in my opinion. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you all have a great day out there. And I'll definitely talk to you soon, and stay tuned for my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. I'm so excited to dive into that and talk about that movie next. So, as always, you're all awesome, you all rock. In with the positive, out with the negative. I'll talk to you all later, and much love to you all. Bye.